Shalom, party people, and welcome to the 12th Sea. So, this is kind of an alternate theory, and I'm going to preface this with the fact that just because I am throwing this out there into the Weber nets for people to kind of debate around or whatever, does not mean that I endorse this theory. It's just, I don't really hear people talking about this. And so wanted to, I don't know, let's mid-rash a little bit. Let's talk. Let's rap. So it's in the news that they found cocaine at the White House. It's been in the news for a hot minute. They've asked and no one's really saying anything. There's some speculation going on, who's officially going to claim it, but pretty much all of us are in agreement that it's Hunter Biden's. I mean, that's not really a stretch of the imagination. Hunter Biden is documented as having a very long history of cocaine, having a very long history of other drugs too. He's been in and out of rehab a whole bunch of times. There's photos of him that are fairly recent of him ingesting cocaine into his body. There's the whole Hunter Biden laptop scandal. Does not take very much proof to know that Hunter Biden has a drug issue. There's also evidence of Hunter Biden having been in the White House a few days before the cocaine was found. I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was a Secret Service log that showed him there the day before. Not 100% on all of those details because I'm repeating secondhand on that, but from what I understand, there's some White House logs that show he was there before the cocaine was found, and it was fairly recent. That's what I do know, but I'm not certain on those dates. So that's established. Everybody's pretty sure it's Hunter Biden's. Alternate theory. Is it possible that that cocaine belonged to a Secret Service agent? I think yes, it is possible. Do I have pretty high reasonable certainty that it's probably Hunter Biden's? Yeah, I do. But if you've ever read the book Crisis of Character, and the author escapes me, but I'll include him in the description. The Crisis of Character book takes place, and it's a true story. It's the memoirs of one of the Secret Service agents that testified in Bill Clinton's impeachment proceedings. It's pretty well documented that the Secret Service has a very unique way of blowing off steam. And depending on the presidency, depending on what the ethos is of the man in charge, is that those Secret Service agents can get pretty fast and loose with their morals. And here's the other thing. It's a lot of Secret Service agents have come out and talked about how what their break schedules look like, what their work schedules look like, how not 9 to 5 their job is, but more of they may have to stand in one spot for 10 hours and they have 5 minutes to pee and eat their lunch, and that's just part of their job. Well, when they are working, and then all of a sudden, hey, we need you to pick up an extra shift because the president is going to go do this, and oh, by the way, we need you on the road because we're traveling. It's just work. And the likelihood that to keep up, some of them are taking drugs, not just blowing off steam, but also as a stimulant to keep going, because caffeine only goes so far. It's possible. It is very possible. Let's also not forget that not that long ago, some Secret Service agents were protecting the president in a country where prostitution was legal. And those Secret Service agents got busted for prostitution. Happens. So we do know that the faster and looser that the morals of the president go, the faster and looser the morals of the people protecting him go. And there's a lot of stuff in the memoirs of that guy who testified against Clinton in his impeachment proceedings in that book, Crisis of Character, where he was talking about just the prolific fast and loose culture that was going on inside the Secret Service at the time. Was it still going on during the Bush years? Oh, of course it was. Both Bushes. Did it probably go on in Reagan's term? I bet it did. Did it go on in Obama's term? Yeah, probably did. Let's not forget that there are photos of Barack Obama consuming narcotics. Now, did that pursue during his presidency? Probably not. Highly doubt that it did, but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at the same time, if that makes sense. But you also get into the situation of, okay, well, what about Trump's presidency? Probably. I don't know. But it's possible that there were Secret Service agents that were protecting President Trump that were fast and loose and ingesting drugs and having sex with prostitutes and all that. It's very possible. So what about Biden? Well, Biden's presidency aside, his leadership qualities or lack thereof aside, all of that, I think most people can look at the Biden presidency and go, something's not right here. This doesn't make sense. And you can even really question if he's the one who's in charge. So you can have all that. Let's put it aside. President Biden is traveling more than any president before him. And he's not traveling outside of the United States. He's going back and forth to Camp David and his home. Those are really the main two places he's traveling. And so being away from the White House all the time, he's got to have Secret Service protection. And outside of the White House, that Secret Service protection increases. So the possibility that some of these Secret Service agents are using drugs just to blow off steam, pass the time, and keep themselves going at the same time is there. Also, morals being faster and looser for Biden, probably not encouraging them to keep that stuff away or under wraps. So the option is there. What is the likelihood that that cocaine that they found at the White House belongs to a Secret Service agent or maybe a press staff member? Like, it's possible. And I hear so many people on the political right who are like, oh, it's Hunter Biden's cocaine. Yeah, it probably is. Like, I'm not going to argue with somebody that it probably is Hunter Biden's cocaine. But all of that, 9 minutes and 15 seconds to get to the fact that the leadership that is in place has a direct effect on the ethos of the people working for that person. 100% the ethos of the leadership in place has direct effect on the people working for them. And morals and character can be reflected from people at the top. So, is it possible that the protection staff or just a regular staff member of President Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is it possible that one of them was actually the person who was handling the cocaine for themselves, and in a lapse in judgment left it where it was found? It is very possible. Do I believe that that's the case? No. I'm pretty sure it's Hunter Biden's. But when you have leadership that is not striving for the people around them to be at their best, and not just perform at their best, but to actually be their best. And hey, we're gonna band together and get the job done. We're going to exuberate teamwork. We're gonna come up with the best ideas to find solutions to these problems and see them through. We're going to listen to the opinions of people who disagree with us, so that way we can have a better understanding of situations. We're going to, put our nose to the grind wheel and get things done. When you have a leader who has that kind of mentality, which I do not believe is in the White House, but when you have a leader who has that kind of mentality, they're much more likely to look at their people who are doing drugs and say, hey, listen, you need to clean that up or get out of here, one of the two. And I value you too much as an employee to see you just get out of here, so you need to change your life. Until we have leadership that does that kind of thing for their employer or for their employees, I'm not really convinced that it's just Hunter Biden who's the problem. Yes, Hunter Biden is a loose cannon, 100%. Hunter Biden, on audio, on video, transcripts, written documents, every which way. 10% for the big guy, being on the board of all of these companies that are very obviously bribing him so that way they can have the ear of the president or the vice president, because it's been going on for a long time. And before YouTube gets mad at me for saying that, literally every politician who has been around for a little while is doing that kind of behavior, where their friends and their kids and their spouses are consultants for businesses that they have no business being on those boards. Happens all the time. All the time. So it goes on both sides of the political spectrum. Now, the level of corruption that is in the White House is pretty high. But there are plenty of corrupt politicians that have been doing those kind of practices for a long time. It's just our commander-in-chief does have a known drug addict for a son. But what other kind of company culture is going on? What other individuals in proximity to our president are not at their best because they're not being encouraged to be at their best? Just a thought. Because those problems don't always exist with just one person. Usually when there's a negative issue in company culture, it trickles all the way down from the very top to the very bottom and gets every crevice and corner in its way. Be the person who changes your company's culture. When you see things that aren't right, speak up. When you have people who are working shoulder to shoulder with you that are not performing at their best and intentionally slacking off or intentionally seeking out things that are not for their betterment, go and correct them in love and be like, hey, listen, I love you too much to let you keep doing that, because what you're doing is destroying yourself and you're destroying your career and you're probably destroying your personal life too, but I'm not involved in that, so I can only guess, but I love you too much as a coworker to let you keep doing that. So let me help you. That kind of attitude will change this country. Go do hard things.